The world's most heavily indebted property developer wants to be a major player in China's competitive electric vehicle market. China Evergrande says it's changing lanes and making its car manufacturing business the primary focus of the next 10 years. The company is one of China's biggest home and office builders, but has more than $300 billion in liabilities, roughly the same amount as its assets. Its subsidiary, China Evergrande New Energy Vehicle Group, has never sold any cars. And last month, it said it needed to offload assets and get new investors to make salary payments and cover other expenses. But its shares still rose as much as 17% on the news. Last week, its parent firm avoided a default thanks to a last-minute interest payment worth $83.5 million. Another $47 million payment is due at the end of this week. Now, for more on the story, let's bring in Naeem Aslam. He's the chief market analyst at AvaTrade in London. Welcome to the program. Now, Naeem, shares rallied this week, so clearly investors like what they're hearing. So what makes the electric vehicle market in China such an ideal area of focus for a company like Evergrande?
Thanks for having me as always. I think this particular angle that Evergrande has taken, they know that investors are very much interested in the EV space, which is going to grow at a phenomenal pace and currently it is growing rapidly as well. If you look at Tesla, if you look at other car makers in the around the world, you can see that the focus among them is to get into that EV space. And in addition to that, if you look at government policies and their ambitions to go carbon neutral or carbon zero by from 2030 to 2050, depending which government we are talking about, the market is absolutely humongous. And that means an opportunity. And Evergrande is very much likely to take a piece of that pie.
So you mentioned a growing market, but there are other players, large players, particularly in China. What challenges does Evergrande face in that market?
I think supply remains the biggest one. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's your reputation, it's your credit rating, how much money you can raise, how much acquisitions can you do within that space. I think Evergrande coming into space with a large balance sheet and, of course, a massive debt isn't really going to make them very competitive on the market. But given the fact that the shares are up today, that shows confidence among investors and traders towards a stock price, towards its future growth. So we do believe that Evergrande would be able to achieve a very strong position in the market in the coming quarters.
So you mentioned Evergrande's credibility there. How much does it still have? How much stock does it still have among investors, given its current problems, especially in its core business right now, which is real estate?
Yeah. So look, I think Chinese number one from investors' perspective is that Chinese government isn't really intervening, and that is a clear sign of a free market because let investors, let markets find the exact price of that. And given the fact that the prices are back in positive territory and they are way oversold, bargain hunters are very much joining this particular opportunity to bag some bargain before it is too late.
All right, Naeem Aslam from AvaTrade joining us from London. Thank you for the analysis.
Thank you for having me.
Now to other top stories from around the world. HSBC has unveiled plans for a share buyback of up to $2 billion after reporting better than expected third quarter results. Pre-tax profits jumped 76% from a year ago to $5.4 billion thanks to the release of $700 million in loan loss reserves. Earnings were also boosted by strong equity trading activity from its wealth management clients in Asia. Nigeria's central bank is launching a digital currency that will complement physical cash to improve its payment system. The e-Naira will operate as a wallet and allow customers to store existing funds in their bank accounts. The move comes months after the West African nation banned banks from providing services related to cryptocurrency transactions. And Italy's economy ministry says it's ended talks with UniCredit over the sale of commercial bank Monte dei Paschi di Siena. This came as a major blow to the government's years-long effort to return the world's oldest bank to private hands. The Treasury is required to divest its stake in MPS by the end of the year under conditions set by the European Commission. And that's all from Business for Now.